You heard about it in high school. You've seen it talked about in the news. There's a section about it in the class syllabus. What's the big deal with plagiarism? Let's talk about plagiarism and why you should care about avoiding it. At its core, plagiarism is using someone else's work without giving them proper credit, whether intentionally or unintentionally. However, it's not always simply copying someone's work verbatim. Anyone who's determined to stay ethical needs to look beyond the surface level definition if they want to avoid it. While you're learning how to avoid plagiarism, running a plagiarism check is a smart way to confirm that you've included all necessary citations and incorporated your sources. Using an online plagiarism checker, like the Chegg writing plagiarism checker, is a way professors and students alike can help confirm that a paper is original and has all sources cited. However, even if you do use an online plagiarism checker, you should know enough about plagiarism to avoid it in the first place. Learning how to avoid plagiarism starts with recognizing the myriad forms that academic appropriation may take, both intentional and unintentional, and actively putting in the work to avoid it. Here are some forms of plagiarism. Word-for-word plagiarism is copying someone else's work in sections or its entirety and passing it off as your own. This also happens when you forget a citation. Without a citation, someone else's work is attributed to you. Purchasing papers involves paying a service or another student to complete your assignment and submitting it under your own name. Patch writing, also called mosaic writing, occurs when someone pieces together paragraphs and sentences from different sources and submits it as their original work. Submitting work with invented citations, or including citations which do not align with or support your work in the way you indicate, are also forms of plagiarism, as is submitting the same paper or assignment for more than one class. Now that we know what constitutes plagiarism, let's look at potential consequences if it is identified. When someone accidentally or knowingly tries to pass off unoriginal work as their own, they're plagiarizing. Maybe it happened because they didn't know how to complete the work, or they failed to complete the assignment on time, or they simply forgot to attribute a quote. None of these are valid excuses by most academic standards. Depending on the severity, you may receive a reduced or failing grade for the assignment, or the whole course, a note on your transcript, or other penalties up to and including expulsion. That's why understanding and avoiding plagiarism is so important. In the following sections, we'll look at some ways to avoid plagiarism. Including relevant, properly formatted, and cited quotations is a great way to support your paper's argument. However, there are some scenarios that take quotations out of safe territory and into a realm that meets the plagiarism definition. Quotes need to be properly attributed to the original author, otherwise they are considered plagiarized. The majority of your work should be your original thoughts and words, not quotes. Taking a quote out of context or quoting a reference in a manner that misrepresents it is a form of dishonesty. Don't make stuff up and pass it off as a source. Seems simple, right? And make sure the source that you're pulling from is reputable. When it's skillfully done, paraphrasing is an excellent way to integrate source material into your work and demonstrate your understanding of its content. However, if you paraphrase a source too closely, you might fall into plagiarism. When you paraphrase, you need to do more than swap synonyms, otherwise your paraphrase will be inadequate. Here's a method to help you properly paraphrase. First, take a few minutes to read and understand the passage you're using. Then put the passage away. Next, jot down the main points it communicates. Using these points, write down a passage of your own. This will be your paraphrase. Finally, add a proper citation to your paraphrase. No matter how well you paraphrase a source, you always need to attribute ideas to the original author with proper citations. Generally, common knowledge is something that most of the general public, or those in a particular field, would know without using primary or secondary sources to confirm its accuracy. Common knowledge does not usually need to be cited, but there are a few instances where you should cite it. If you are directly quoting a source to state a common knowledge fact, such as a dictionary definition, it needs to be cited. In this example, the common knowledge fact is being represented by a direct quote and needs to be treated as a quotation. If you are ever in doubt about whether a citation is needed, err on the side of caution and cite it. If you're quoting one of your existing papers, or including ideas that you previously submitted, some schools may require you to cite your previous work. In these instances, omitting a citation could be considered plagiarism. Check with your professor and your school's policy to see if they have rules and guidance about using your previous work as a source. Plagiarism can be an intimidating subject, but if you follow the rules and act ethically, you can easily avoid it. Be sure you understand your school's academic dishonesty policy, ask your professor for guidance, and always cite your sources. And remember, the Chegg Writing Plagiarism Checker is also available to help you make your paper the strongest it can be.